starting off with the after effect of the Free Nnamdi Kanu protests. Omoyele Sowore, who was a huge part of the protest, was arrested over the Nnamdi Kanu protest. So yesterday, Nnamdi Kanu was arraigned in court. We'll come to talk about him and his legal representation. Or maybe we should even start with that he has refused legal representation. His lawyers, the senior advocates, have all removed themselves from the case, and they announced that in court yesterday. Remember that Aloy Jimako, who's also one of his counsel, was arrested on Monday alongside Nnamdi Kanu's brothers. So yesterday, Nnamdi Kanu defended. He chose to defend himself, opened his defense, and is calling out a number of witnesses, including some high-profile individuals like the Minister of the FCT, the Chief of Army Staff, the Governor of Lagos State,
the former Chief of Army Staff,
thank you. Yes, Tukur Buratai, the Governor of Lagos State, and a number of other dignitaries. There was a video, we saw a clip of them in court when Nnamdi Kanu met Omoyele Sowore, and you could see Nnamdi Kanu encouraging him, in the hug. He said something like, "Don't give up" or "Don't be tired" or something like that. Let's play the video with the audio.
You'll be out. Mazi. It's strong. Yes. Yes.
So, Omoyele Sowore says, "Mazi, be strong. No, you'll be out." And then Nnamdi Kanu tells him to be strong. It's as if Nnamdi Kanu is a prophet in this case, foreseeing what will eventually happen to Omoyele Sowore. But let's backtrack and talk about his representation, or his refusal of representation in court, because when his lawyers removed themselves from the case, the court asked him if he would want legal representation, because it is the duty of the court to provide legal representation when there is none. Nnamdi Kanu refused and chose to represent himself. And this is not the first time we've seen Nnamdi Kanu pleading his cause or choosing to represent himself in court. Gentlemen.
You're right. This happened earlier. There was a time he told his legal team that doesn't need them anymore. I was looking to represent himself. I think he's doing a lot of reading while in prison. Maybe he's taking courses on law and so on. However, the point is he did mention a few names, high-profile names, such as the FCT minister. And you wonder what has the FCT minister got to do with his case. He also mentioned the former chief
of Army Staff.
Yes, Chief of Army Staff. He also mentioned the AGF, former AGF, Attorney General of the Federation. That's Mr. Malami as well. He mentioned him. There are cases where people have said, okay, if you go back in time, the way he was picked up in Kenya wasn't that he was... It wasn't an extradition. It was actually much more like a rendition. It was kidnapped and it was taken away. So he has a case that he can prove in court. But I'm trying to see what the Lagos State governor has got to do on that list, because someone whose name is also there.
We don't know.
He's covered under immunity. Would he have to respond to that? Would he have to show up in court?
I don't think that he can at this point, because again, and that's a very valid point that you've raised. The immunity clause prevents certain officials, political office holders, from appearing in court, because if you didn't put that immunity, every frivolous case, there'll be tons of frivolous cases that will be presented daily, weekly in court that would impede their duties or impede their ability to carry out their duties and their functions. Even though some activists and advocates have said that the immunity clause be removed. But if you remove it, this is what will happen. I'm not sure how this will turn out.
Governors will be in court every other week, and it will prevent them from doing their jobs. But what I want to say about this is, regardless of how Mazi, how much Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been doing his reading, it can't take the place of a professional lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, for that matter. He might have been going through some internal struggles and what have you, and some differences, and maybe he just wants to make a point. But I think the sooner he gets his legal representatives back, the better for his case, so they can, attend to the issues and maybe get a judgment and see where this case goes, because it's been dragging for too long. So, and it's good that Olive cleared the air, because before we came on air, I'd asked her if it's possible for a person to represent themselves in court, because they always say the state will provide legal representation for you where one is not available.
Yeah.
and she answered positively. So
Okay.
But I think we need to see him. Let's watch a video where Nnamdi Kanu himself was representing himself in court.
Okay,
Hopefully we'll
I don't
get
think I
video
really have that
shortly
one.
as well.
But before that, I just wanted to run through some of the names. I know we've mentioned some. So there is, like you've mentioned, the former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, a former Chief of Army Staff, General Tukur Buratai, retired, a former Minister of Defense, General Theophilus Danjuma, and there are a number of others that he has listed as part of his witness. And this is, of course, because he's appearing before Justice Omotosho. Just to also mention that on Thursday, yesterday, when the matter was called in court, his lead counsel, Agabi SAN, informed the court that he would no longer be representing the IPOB leader, adding, so it's not their decision, he added that the defendant had decided to take back the case from them. So Kanu Agabi was not the one that unilaterally woke up and said he's not representing Nnamdi Kanu again. He said that Nnamdi Kanu decided to take back the case from them. So it's not the lawyers refusing, it is the defense or the defendant here who has decided to represent himself.
Okay, all right, let's see what Nigerians are saying, if they're actually reacting to this story. Mazi Uche Okeudo says, while Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has a legal right to defend himself, it is often wiser to use the services of a legal practitioner. Self-representation may give him control, but professional guidance gives him a stronger chance at justice. And we've said that here as well. Thank you so much for your tweet. I think it corroborates what we've said. What a judicial disgrace that a court can boldly detain an individual this long without any substantial reason, and they call this a proceeding. Where is the separation of powers? Courts have become a complete mockery of the Nigerian law. Well, Edu LA or Edu La. Lagos Ibu says, incidents have made me to never doubt MNK's choices, especially when it comes to court cases. He once proved to us here that he is grounded in it. I also see it that he wants to make many blunt facts that his lawyers could be afraid of making because of circumstances.
we'll wait and see.
Anyway, Mucho says, set our Raymond.
Readiness.
Okay, all right. Is that all the tweets we have? Let's see, do we have more?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, all right.
I thought his lawyer said that he's not fit enough to stand trial. When the Nigerian Medical Association said he's fit, his lawyer said otherwise and that he needs serious medical attention. Who fits no, they represent himself for court. He can be sick and still choose to represent himself in court. Well, this is from Alim Ola Dimeji. Now let's take the next tweet. Okay, that's all that we have now. So yes, Nnamdi Kanu is representing himself. How this will impact his case is another concern that many have shared, because in time past where he actually had legal representation by lawyers, we see the stallings and the delays in his trial, so many interruptions. We're not quite sure what the implication of this might be. You know, this will strengthen his case or even elongate the time, or lead to more delays. Now he's objected to the jurisdiction of the court to hear his matter, which is another issue. So we don't know what the implication of this will be. We're just going to have to wait and see how things play out.
It would also be interesting to know that if someone on trial summons you as a witness, are you compelled to appear in court?
No.
It would be nice to know what the law says.
And especially because these people are, they're people of
high network individuals, high profile individuals,
Yeah.
let's put it that way.
Right.
Okay.
Anyway, still speaking about Nnamdi Kanu, as a result of his detention, which many have found wrongful, by many I mean a cross-section of Nigerians, including members of the Take It Back movement, as well as Omoyele Sowore. Now, Omoyele Sowore on the 20th of October championed the protest with a number of Nigerians in the Federal Capital Territory. Unfortunately, it would seem that after his appearance in court to show solidarity with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, he has now been arrested. He's been added to the number of those who have been arrested, including Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, as well as his younger brother.
They still haven't been released.
No, they haven't.
No, they haven't. I mean, this is where he was approached. Let's take a look at this, and then we'll also listen to the police PPRO, Mr. Benjamin Dane.
No, I'm recording.
Are you recording us?
I'm not recording you. I'm recording me.
Put that phone
This is
down.
my younger brother. Now, what are you upset about?
Put that phone down.
So you said the commissioner of police said you should arrest me
Yes, we are not
over what?
Bring you to the office.
By force?
Is it by force? I'm not holding you.
No, but you said that. So why you then have? So we didn't bring a letter of invitation now. That's not your business. When did you start telling people how to wear their clothes? Let my car follow me. Is the car here? Yes.
Wait. Baba, wait first.
No, wait.
Let the...
You have to take me with my lawyer, so provide an avenue for.
Lawyer can come and
Yes. No, wait. Let him enter first. Clear the thing now. Where's
Today has been arrested by the Nigeria Police Force. And you would ask, why was he arrested? It is very simple. The 13 people that were arrested previously all gave their statements, and there is a constant in all of their statements. Every one of them mentioned that one Omoyele Sowore led them into the restricted area in contravention of the court order. So it will be most unfair to charge some people to court and leave the person that led them to commit that more like their leader, the lead protester who told them and took them into the restricted area. And that's why in the spirit of fair play and to ensure that justice is served, Omoyele Sowore was arrested today, and like the others too, he wouldn't spend time with us. He wouldn't spend up to 24 hours with us. Once we wrap up the charges, he's going to be prosecuted. In fact, if everything goes right, our plan is to ensure that he is prosecuted today. He goes to court today.
So drama, from one drama to another.
But the police is basically saying, you can't urge people to come out and protest. We've arrested some of the foot soldiers.
We must arrest the head.
Arrest the leader.
This is why the NSAS protest, every time they kept asking, who's the leader of the protest? The young people said, we don't have any leader. Everybody is an organic
The
protest.
same thing you have in the
right?
Gen Z protests in different countries.
In Kenya.
There's no leader because once you position yourself as the leader, you will be targeted. I want to read out Inibehe Efyong's tweet. This tweet was put out yesterday, the 23rd of October at 1:54 p.m. He says, I have just been denied access to Yele Sowore at the former SARS abattoir located at Kuzape, Abuja. The officers on duty insisted that I have to get clearance from the FCT Police Command Headquarters before they can give me access to Sowore. I have left the facility. That is the tweet. And there have been reactions to that, with many wondering what exactly is happening. Why was he arrested? This is the tweet. The first tweet was, the arrest of Omoyele Sowore at the Federal High Court in Abuja moments ago is preposterous. The police and the Tinubu regime are making a mockery of our judicial system. He should be freed immediately. Stop
the shenanigans.
You are waiting to say that, right?
Yes. And it was after that tweet he tried to visit, was denied access, and then put out the tweet that I just read. But let's see what other Nigerians are saying. Oga, not every madness is human right. The court granted them right to protest, all right, and also told them where they shouldn't take their protest to. They breached the right in contravention to the directive of the court. So, tell me, who is making mockery of the judiciary? This is, I think, in response to Inibehe
Well, it'd be nice
Efyong's
to
tweet.
know where they breached.
Basically, because they are saying that the court gave instructions as to where and where they should
location.
take their protest
Were
to.
they in those
That they
locations?
breached some of the areas that the court instructed they shouldn't breach. How can they be charged to court for allegedly violating court order, which same Nigerian government has abused and violated over and over? Was Nnamdi Kanu not discharged, but the tyrannical state actors kept him against the ruling of the court? Is the law applicable to some, not all? Machiavelli asked.
Food for thought.
Good question. Good question.
Mesere Abraham says, this is too laughable. It says the brains of the people who churn out these things that is at safe. The brains of those who churn out these things are that of babies. Which court order? The only person that can order his arrest is the same court after contempt proceedings have been initiated, assuming that he disobeyed the order. I mean, everybody on Twitter these days.
Everybody's a
is,
lawyer now.
Olive's colleague.
Twitter lawyer.
My learned colleagues.
You know, we're all
Leonard
learned.
Collins now.
Just
I love it.
You,
I call them
you form a
Twitter lawyers.
constitution in your mind and you interpret it by yourself.
I don't care if Sowore broke the law. The Nigerian police should focus on fighting kidnapping and terrorism. If they think this deserves a public hearing, then they have clearly abandoned their duty and lost every sense of priority. Have we heard anything about the young girl who kidnappers?
Said 24
Or
hours.
in the
Yeah.
Edo State.
Nothing. And the police did not put out any video.
Yes.
Okay.
Happy
I just wanted to
customer
ask.
this week.
Happy customer service.
I really hope she's still okay. I really hope she's alive and that, law enforcement has swung into action to get her. But these are what Nigerians are saying regarding the incident of Sowore being arrested. When we get details on that, we'll come back to you with that. And now to our final story. Okay, maybe not. If we have time,
Yeah,
we'll
final
take one
story.
more. All right, our final story this morning. The House of Reps moves to cap rent increment at 20% nationwide. Now, this, of course, they described the incessant rent increment as exploitative and detriment to the citizens' welfare, and they took the resolution following the adoption of a motion on notice at Thursday's plenary, and this was sponsored by the member representing Calabar Municipal, Odupani Federal Constituency, Cross River State, Basi Akiba. I want to give a round of applause to Basi Akiba. But let's quickly go back. Recall that in May 2024, the House passed a similar resolution sponsored by Emmanuel Udo, PDP Akwa Ibom, calling for rent control and landlords regulation within the FCT. Udo's motion advocated monthly rent payments and directed the House Committee on the FCT to propose measures to address excessive, reckless increments in rent by landlords. Across the country, there are reports of a hike in rents, particularly in areas witnessing new government infrastructural projects such as roads and markets. In FCT, for example, reports have it that rent has jumped from 800,000 naira to 2.5 million naira annually for a two-bedroom flat, a development that has plunged many Nigerians into economic stress. This is a report by, that the Punch has put about this.
Olive, we're about to go into a serious chaos when it comes to the housing sector. And if care is not taken, many Nigerians will be left out in the cold. The reason is because housing is a big, major problem. There's a housing deficit. The federal government is not even building houses again. The state government is not building. We've talked about
Well,
it.
they tell you that they have, when we had the Commissioner of Information on the show, he had
How
shared
many?
the plans. But the problem is,
Their
even when they're
plans.
doing the housing plans that sort of supposed to be low cost in a sense, how accessible is it? How much of a problem-solving mechanism is it? You look at the houses that are available in comparison to the population that Lagos is. Lagos, for example, is a mega city, so I don't know how we're going to be able to apply rent control here in Lagos. But if you look at it holistically, it's not just in Lagos, in the FCT. Nigeria has a
Port Harcourt.
challenge with
Everywhere.
rent.
It's as if all the landlords went into a WhatsApp meeting or they had a virtual meeting and said going for, and they're not increasing it by maybe 20% as mentioned. They're doing it by 100%. It's a 100%. If you're paying 1.5, you're not going to be paying 3.7.
This one, they didn't gist me.
For what?
I know a friend who was paying rent in an apartment for 6 million. Her rent was increased from 6 million to 12 million.
That's 100%.
How do you make it make sense that someone lives in your house 2 years and after that you increase
And I want
the
to
rent
ask,
to
the
12 million?
economic challenges, is it just affecting the landlords? Is it not affecting your tenants too? So you expect the tenants to work harder, double their work or their hustle so they can pay you
And I'm sure
the
they'll
double.
How many employers have increased?
How many of them who own businesses are even thriving or are doing well?
And then again, it's not every calendar year that you should increase rent. I can understand last year, subsidy removal at the unification of the FX. But in a year that record inflation is low, why must there be an increment in the first place?
Thank you.
And that's a good one you mentioned there. When things were bleeding, okay, you increase the rent to meet the inflation. You may not say that things have 100% improved, but the bleeding has stopped to a certain extent. It's not a situation
Are they
where
going to decrease
you
it
wake up in the morning and you don't know what the naira is going to be. It's a lot better.
Because this cap might
Stability.
be giving them ideas. They will just be 20%
Every
increment
year.
Every year.
No, I think one of the things they
But-
also want to add to the 20% is they want to mention how many times you can do it, maybe in 5 years or so on and so forth. But if you check the responses, although we're going to see what Nigerians are saying, some of the house owners or the landlords are saying, is it the federal government that bought cement for me? Is it the federal government that built my house? How dare they tell me what to do with my
They
property?
say we operate a free market economy and we don't have a right to.
I thought of an idea this morning because while I was coming to work, we discussed the same issue in the car with a few friends who joined me. And one of the things I said was, Lagos, for instance, needs to be gazetted, okay? And different areas should be looked into. For instance, if access around this area where we have, our offices, you're close to the government area, those areas you can now say, okay, the houses here from 2-bedroom flat should go for maybe 2 million naira, for instance.
you have a cap.
Exactly. There should be price control.
And range.
Now, if the state does price control and then shares it to every house owner and say, listen, if you have a property here and you're going beyond 3 million naira instead of 2 million naira, the landlord says, I don't care, to hell with you. The tenants should now have a portal where they can report the landlord. And if they report the landlord, this is just my thought too. I'm not trying to.
We're a democracy and
reporting
a
is
free
a good
market
idea.
economy.
And I
It's a
think
good
if you
idea.
report the
It will not
landlord,
work.
the government should now take it. No, because things that the government has to stand for the people.
So let me
The
tell you
government
something.
This is the best way the government can start. Build mass affordable
While they're
housing
building.
and disrupt
the system,
the
that's the
system,
best.
So you
exactly.
know what the
best.
challenge
I agree,
is?
that's the best.
This is a good idea. Implementation is where the problem is. Something as simple as in our tenancy laws, the provision for rent. It is not legal for you to ask for more than 1 year rent in certain parts of Lagos, but they're doing it, and
2
they're getting
years.
away with
Yeah.
it. And they're doing it because they know that if they talk to A, and A says, oh, the Lagos State laws do not allow you to increase your rent, you will pay it.
B to Z.
They're
to
they're
seven
going to
jobs
pay.
for
They're ready
Exactly.
to drop the 2 year rent.
So implementation is
the implementation is where the bottleneck
cocoa.
is, and I don't know how we're going to go about it. For now it's still a suggestion. It's not become binding, but it is a welcome development that the rent increment be capped at 20% nationwide to help Nigerians catch up. People can be working. Right now, it feels like Nigerians are working to pay bills, particularly those in certain mega cities like
That's what's
Lagos,
happening.
Abuja, Port Harcourt, working to pay bills. You're working to pay for rent, working to pay for power. It's a really tough time to be a Nigerian. But anyway, these laws, like I did say, the effectivity, the applicability of it is where the issue will be. But for now, it's still in
Oliver, I still
suggestion
feel
phase.
that if they can put a cap in different areas in Lagos State, any landlord that goes above that, there should be a report where you can report a portal. And if you report, this is my thought. When you report and the landlord fails to review the pricing, then I think the government has the power to double tax that landlord. Yes.
Okay.
If you don't want to reduce it to this amount, you will now pay extra tax.
Then guess who's going to feel the effect of the
No,
tax?
you leave it.
Joe, see, there are many ways to kill a rat.
Tired.
They will then go through the corners and tell you, oh, this is not rent, but it's service charge. Haven't you seen on the
Exactly.
island where rent and service charge are in
Almost
competition?
competing, no?
Your rent is 2 million, service charge is 1.5 million.
For what?
Make it make
What
sense.
are you servicing?
Okay, let's get what Nigerians are saying about that before we move to our final story about insecurity. What Nigerians are saying about this. Now, the landlords go soon protest, say cost of cement no get House of Reps cap. But honestly, if they implement this rent cap well, it will save plenty Nigerians from yearly hypertension.
I agree with you.
Wale, you are right too. Resolution implementation flaws echoes on enforced Lagos 2015 law. You see? They say that it echoes on enforced Lagos 2015 law, lacks dedicated funding or monitoring body, risking widespread non-compliance. Economic mismatch, 20% cap ignores 34% inflation, eroding landlord profits and stifling new housing supply, deficit of minus 20 million units. Unintended consequences could spur illegal evictions or black market rents. No provisions for dispute resolution or tenant subsidies. Superficial reform tackles hikes without addressing core issues like land access barriers or public housing investment. And finally, uneven impact, urban focused, sidelining rural renters, and ongoing communal land conflict and poor infrastructure. This feels like a PhD.
This
Very well
guy
said.
has broken it down.
Proper breakdown.
What's the name again?
The Who Knows Monday.
Knows
Okay, no.
Monday. Well
It
done.
looks-
Well done. This is done.
Well, that's
the
the tweet. So every year they just increase by 20%. Why not state a stipulated number of years to initiate the 20% increase? Say every 3 years or 5 years, because Nigerians are greedy and they'll just be increasing the rent every year.
I think they mentioned that it's going to be within 5 years. After 5 years, you can review
like we said, it's not just churning out laws for the sake of churning out laws.
We have so many laws.
How much can you implement and follow up? Like that previous tweet said, using the Lagos State 2015 laws as a case study, we've seen the flaws in that law. Implementation and the enforcement of it is lax. So we're still back to square one. Very unfortunate. Until we do something about mass housing, like Lateef Jakonde did in the 70s, we'll still be in the same, in the 80s rather, we'll still be in the same situation.
Anyway, it's a major problem, and we're just throwing it open out there. If you have a comment or two to share with us, please feel free to do so on our socials. Let's know how you're coping with the hike in rent prices. It seems to be the bane of every struggling Nigerian who is possibly just working to pay rent, because that's what's happening now. You're working so hard, all the profits you're making, either in your business or home, you're using it to pay your rent. But let's move on to our next story on Wake Up Conversations. Let's see what is really going on. Now, a lady on social media is currently talking, and she's talking tough. She's lamenting the state of insecurity in Edo State. This further re-echoes the need for insecurity to be dealt a major blow. But let's get to watch this video first, and then we'll see what comes out of this.
If you stay in Edo State, you stand a chance of being kidnapped, robbed, or killed, meaning you don't have access to long life. You can drop dead at any given time. And it is now so normal that if things like this happen, they just blame it on courtesan. They are too lazy to do their investigations. We don't have good roads. We don't have jobs. Cost of living very, very, very crazy here, and we can't sleep with our eyes closed. Our dear governor, and not be so we talk. Edo State is so damaged. It's the fact. It is damaged. I don't even know if it can be repaired. Right now, it is believed that if you want to make it big here, you should do fraud. You should do something illegal. It is just it. Now there is no reasons houses should be in millions in Auchi. Wait till they Auchi. Auchi is a village, for Christ's sake. It is not developed yet. Even in the whole Edo State, there is no reason houses should be in millions. We don't have things. If not for Yahoo, will it get to that amount? Una no say job no day. Nothing is working in that land. Heartbeat of the nation. Heartbeat of the nation. And let me show you, if you stay in Auchi, sorry for you. If you stay in Ishan, you don't have long life. Our farmers are dropping dead in the farms every day. It is not in the traditional media. Why? What are we hiding? Where till we they hide? Edo State good? Is it good? Students' places are being robbed every time. It is not talked about enough. Government not do.
Very sad reality. It seems like our reality is now a silent one, but some people are coming out to speak up about it. We've seen the governor. Just yesterday we put out a video where the governor was stuck on one of the bad roads, and many have applauded the governor for working very hard to fix roads. Governor with the enter governor with the work, gutter and all that. But he's working, whether we like it or not. He's pulling his own weight. But like I said yesterday, I feel for the president. Because when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said he was taking this job, he said nobody should feel pity for him. I don't know if you guys remember that statement.
I remember.
He said nobody should pity him that he took the job. But so far, so good. One of the things I also admired that the president said, and I was thinking it would work, was when I watched his BBC interview. In that interview, he said he was going to tackle two things. One, insecurity. Two, he was going to turn around the economy. Good enough, these two things are the front burner. But how far has he gone with them? The economic reform, we've seen the fuel subsidy removal, we've seen the devaluation of the naira, we've seen what it has cost Nigerians. Is it palatable? Is it working? The SSA had put out a statement
there might also
yesterday.
be a linkage between that and insecurity.
Exactly.
Because it forced more people into poverty.
Exactly. The SSA had put out a statement yesterday on X, and people were not happy with that statement. he was quoting statistics. I'm talking about Mr. Bayo Onanuga, quoting statistics, stating that the economy has done very well. And then under that statement he put out on X, some professional economists did come out, economists in quotes, I beg your pardon, did come out and told him, no, you've gotten it wrong, you're not right. They were now putting him through, they were correcting him and telling him, no, this is wrong, you are pushing a wrong narrative and so on and so forth. For the fact that we are owing a lot now, Nigeria is owing a lot in terms of our debt profile, and you're still borrowing more, doesn't show any sign that we're going to get better, we're going to make that turn. What did the president call that turn? We're going to...
We've turned the corner.
Turn the corner anytime soon. That's what. Now, insecurity, which was highlighted to be followed through, we've seen, we all here, we talk about, sometimes we even get tired. Olive just mentioned the girl we talked about yesterday. Hopefully she's fine. People who are traveling on even the roads that used to be safe during the day.
And there's
no
so many
safe.
that are unreported.
So many.
Yes.
That we even get on our mobile devices as a news channel that buzz and lands on our phones, and we can't take all of them. So the question now is, somebody has put out a video, like we just watched now. She's saying, listen, in Benin is no longer safe. I've also heard that it's not safe. We've taken our correspondent in Delta State, Austin Azu, who talked about students who are being attacked and so on by mobs and so. So the question is, isn't it time for the presidency to sit down and say, listen, let's pause on some of these many things we are doing. All ministers come together. Let's all face insecurity. Let's solve it once and for all. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Until we put a state of emergency on insecurity, we'll continue to hear and see more stories. The only prayer is we keep praying it shouldn't come to us or it shouldn't touch our loved ones.
But that's the problem. You see that prayer, unfortunately, that prayer
It's a selfish
shouldn't come
prayer.
to us.
It's a selfish prayer.
And that's our mentality in Nigeria.
It's a selfish prayer.
As long as
so long as it doesn't
affect
come
me,
here,
it's
so long
fine.
as it doesn't come to the south.
We need to end it everywhere.
Everywhere.
Remember the quote that
Insecurity
said, and I'm not quoting verbatim, when it says, when it happened to the Jews, there was no one, they came for the Jews, we kept quiet. Soon they came for this one, they kept quiet. At a point, when they came for the last set of people, there was nobody left, to speak for them. If we don't speak, because it doesn't affect us personally, one day, like they say, you go touch everybody, and there'll be nobody to speak for you.
And when we speak about these things, it's not to demarcate the government or to put the country in a bad spotlight. We all we have a duty to report things as they are, and it's to spur the government into action to do something about it, because we're not happy to report that Nigerians are dying here and there as a result of terrorism. But yesterday, I believe in the Northeast Theatre, men of Operation Hadinkai neutralized quite a number of terrorists that attacked the military formation there. So some cheering news, but more needs to be done, and not just in the theatre of operation. In other states, like crimes like kidnapping needs to be dealt with, and robbery and what have you, all the security incidents. Like Joe has always said, the government needs to step up, and governors too, as chief security officers of your state, please. The news is that you're getting more money than you've ever gotten from the federal coffers. So please put that money into good use. We've seen states like Delta State come up with a security trust fund. Lagos State has one. Support the Nigerian police in any way you can, and also increase your intelligence gathering capabilities so as to prevent these crimes before they even happen in the first place.
Just to re-explain what it is I was putting before, it's a poem, post-World War II poem by Pastor Martin Niemoller, who's a German Lutheran pastor that initially used to support Hitler, but then later he was imprisoned, turned against him. He later opposed the Nazi regime and then was imprisoned in concentration camps from 1938 to 45. He says, first they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. They came for the trade unionist, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. We will continue to speak. And kudos to everyone who has done what they can, like the young lady who was spoken out in that video, and everyone who continues to speak out fearlessly or fearfully. The more we speak, the more we mount pressure. The government's responsibility is to provide safety and security for the citizens. And any government that cannot do that has failed its people. Let's take a look at what Nigerians are saying about this story about insecurity. Edo used to be one of the states to live in. How has it been reduced to a crime-infested state, or how it has been reduced to a crime-infested state? Something I continue to wonder about. According to the crafter, Auchino Sefo, Nadia be #1 armed robbery. Now, kidnapping is now the order of the day. When the governor said he would bring insecurity to the state during his campaign, and I think said that joke, well, in less than a year, we don't witness, and it was a slip of the tongue now.
But slip of tongue, the words of the mouth are powerful.
No, slip of tongue. I mean, although they say in psychology, they don't believe in slip of tongue.
Now only school day Auchi, nothing day there. The cost of living in that town high like mad. Have you forgotten he promised? You should relax this thing now.
No, it's
how did we get to this level of insecurity in Edo State? There is no good road in Edo State. Temidire Stevens says, this isn't a joke. The rate of insecurity in that state is becoming a norm. Insecurity is now a lifestyle there. The government should act promptly. Funny enough, less or nothing is done.
Sidra update says at least the governor is delivering his election promise. Like we said, like we mentioned here, he's trying. We've seen him go up and down. He's trying to put in the work. But you see, there's more and there's a lot.
And the problems of Edo State didn't start.
It didn't start
when
today.
it was sworn in.
I don't want to use. I don't.
But I mean, just to give context and scope of work he has to do, and what he can humanly do in 1 term or 2 terms, depending on if the electorate wants him back.
Anyway, you're right. You're right. But these are some of the tweets that we can take on YouTube. Mekwenye Chukwemeka says the House of Reps should do it immediately, please. How can my rent go up from 650 to 1.5 million? Imagine that.
That's not even 100%. Because 100% would have been 1.3 million. 650,000 to 1.5 million is pure wickedness. It feels like this landlord is not doing anything else and wants to use.
Do they even consider their tenants?
I don't think they do.
So do they think they're not part of the system?
That's what I said. The same question I asked. Are we not facing the same economic challenges?
Are we not shopping from the same market
maybe I'm different, but in my accommodation, I would not raise the rent from 650 to 1.5. If you say 650 to 850,
that's understandable.
Okay, hi guys, things are tough now, but it's like you're trying to put the whole burden of the economy on your tenants. You say, after all, pressure them, they will pay. If they can't pay, they would leave.
That's really unfair. Still looking at comments, Emeka Eliezer Mokoye says, when the real protest comes, there will be no restricted area. Well, the restricted area, unfortunately, I don't know that in the nearest future, the government, unless it's a protest that happens without pre-information, like this one happened. Because, again, NSAS or NBAD, no, it was NSAS. NSAS protest changed the trajectory of how protest is being done in Nigeria. They never saw it coming. And it really shook them to the core. It's why anytime the government hears anything like before you say test, they've gone to court to go and get one injunction refraining you from either protesting in certain areas or trying to curb the protest. But the truth is, we need to have a conversation about how protests should be carried out. Protesting is a fundamental right enshrined in the Constitution. Peaceful protesting is a fundamental right. It is only when it then becomes violent. It's why the police should be there to ensure that the peaceful protest does not erupt and become a violent protest.
Olive, as we wrap up with our conversation, I want to use this medium to state here because it's been noted. I want to say thank you to the government officials and government offices that watch Breakfast Central, News Central around the clock, be it Jasiri, all our programming. Thank you for watching. And we're sure that, as journalists, we also are in the middle because we get the stories from the people. We also get the stories from both sides. So we're much more like the conduit. We bring everybody together. That's what we do here. However, I think while they watch us this morning and every other programming, we want to use this medium to say, I think it's high time that those in power should actually reach out to the president or presidency. And if the presidency is also aware, they should reach out to the subnationals. I think there should be an intentional meeting, a closed-door meeting where they can highlight just insecurity. I am a fan, even though I don't fully believe in it 100%. I'm a fan of not having 10 agendas when you are having your manifesto. I'm a fan of having just 2. And it applies in the workspace as well. If you say in this office, we're going to be #1 in social area, just 2, and you work with that 2 for a period of time. So if the presidency says, okay, guys, let's hold on all of these, economy, some assaulting, let's now focus. on insecurity, since it's part of the things I said I was going to do.
Nip it
And
in the
everybody
bud.
sits
Well,
together,
at this point, as far as I know.
attack. Once Nigerians start seeing that, oh, have you seen what happened in Edo? There's a new force we're seeing. There's a new truck. Policemen are parading. They're moving around. Something has changed. Have you seen what's happening in Lagos? Have you seen what's happening in Plateau State? Even the so-called heinous crime committers, they would all wake up and say, wait, oh, the story has changed. But if nothing is done, we continue this way because everybody is saying 2027 is around the corner.
Exactly, they're distracted by
the question is,
politicking,
are you going to have an election in 2027 if
Will the country be safe enough?
Exactly,
Yeah.
if people are dying in droves, in numbers? It's a conversation I think we should have.
All
Very
right.
important.
Anyway, as we wrap up Wake Up Conversations, let's share with you what our top stories are today on Breakfast Central.